Welcome to the Community Difference Wylie, powered by the Difference Media, LLC, and hosted by Scott Johnson with FireBoss Realty, and also sponsored by Harvey Loosier with Twilight Cleaning Services, Kim Johnson with Kim Johnson Group, Clarence Jorif with the Compound Nevada, and by Diane Cassel with Cassel to Cassel, connecting charities with fundraising solutions. The Community Difference Wylie was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals. So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts, and insights about being a professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Wylie starts now.
Good morning, Wylie, Texas, and surrounding areas. It is 11:31, and this is the Community Difference Wylie. I'm Lyndon Wilson. I am not Scott Johnson. If you were paying attention to that intro, Scott is a very good-looking. We have different hairstyles, and I think I'm more charming than him. But I guess y'all can figure that out watching the show today. I want to welcome you to the Community Difference Wylie. We talk about all the good people, the good events, the places, and activities that happen in Wylie, Texas. If you're ever interested in sharing a business owner that you know that should be we should shine the spotlight on, please let us know. We would love to get them on and learn a little bit more about them, and then also show the community some of these fantastic businesses. We're going to have one today, and we're proud to bring on Sheridan Bee, BeeCaptured PhotoBooth. But before we do, I want to bring on our co-host. With me today is going to be Harvey Loosier with Twilight Cleaning Services and Diane Cassel with Cassel to Cassel. I'm going to bring them both in now. Good morning, almost said afternoon, because I've been up for a while. It seems like afternoon already. How are y'all doing today?
Awesome. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. About to have some good conversations. It's always fun talking to Harvey and Diane.
Well, I'm just excited to be on with Diane. This is my first time to actually be on the show with Diane, and I'm super stoked about that. Just to get her insight and just have that conversation with her would be great.
You know what I like about this? What I like about this is Diane sets the bar pretty high, but Harvey, you're a very competitive person. So bringing you two together, there may be some fireworks here. It may be some energy, and so I'm excited to see that. We'll see how that plays out. Before we bring in our guests, I want each one of you to tell our audience a little bit about who you are, and what they need to know, but don't tell them everything. Just tease them a little bit. So let's go with Diane first.
So I'm Diane Cassel, and the name of my company is Cassel to Cassel, a little play on words. No, I'm not a realtor. I work
that would have been perfect, though.
I work with nonprofits and local causes to help them find funding solutions so that they don't have to stand at the mailbox and wait for that check.
That is awesome. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in our final segment too, Diane, because a great service that you offer that does a lot of good for a lot of people. So thank you very much for being here. Harvey, who is Harvey Loosier?
I'm Harvey Loosier. My wife and I own Twilight Cleaning Services. We are a commercial janitorial cleaning service. We clean businesses from small to large and everything in between. And our tagline is, it's our business to make yours shine. So
very good. Very good. Now, Harvey, you brought in a guest today. So I want you to, I'm going to bring Sheridan in, introduce him, and then we'll let him talk a little bit about himself before we go to our first break.
Awesome. Sounds good. So Sheridan is one half of a dynamic duo behind BeeCapture. Him and his wife, Chastity, are young Texas-grown entrepreneurs who've built a thriving photo booth rental business that's all about capturing those unforgettable moments. So welcome to the show, Sheridan. I got a question for you. most people are familiar with photo booths, but what's a boomerang?
What's a boomerang? So boomerang is well, first off, welcome or thank you for welcoming me on the show, Harvey and Diane and Lyndon. It's a pleasure. So, BeeCaptured PhotoBooth, we offer boomerangs, and you asked a great question. A boomerang is similar to a GIF, but it uses video, and what we do is slow the video down. We do a recording and slow it down in certain areas, and then it loops. So it kind of goes back and forth, getting the name boomerang.
Cool.
I knew what that was. I knew what it was. I'm proud of myself. I'm probably the oldest one on screen right now, and I knew what it was. I haven't used them, but I know what it is. Well, let me ask this question real quick. What are you all excited about today, about today's show? Diane?
The biggest thing for me is doing a deep dive into the topic. And, people don't think about, a lot of times people don't think about their business being a blueprint or that they even need a blueprint. And I think it's a great way to look at your business, that you really should take a look at that opportunity and what does a blueprint look like for your business? Because it's going to be different for everybody else's. And so what I look forward to every show is hearing everybody's input, because everybody has different experiences, and it helps us all grow and be better.
Absolutely. Harvey, what about you? What are you excited about today?
Well, I love the fact that we can get on and actually share and help other entrepreneurs and business owners and give them direction on how to create a clear strategy that sets them apart from the other competitors. And also talk about how it's beneficial to work with those competitors and not be so afraid or standoffish, if you will, to work with even competitors that are in the same industry as you.
Awesome. Well, Sheridan, what are you excited or nervous about? Is this your first podcast, or have you done some before?
Yeah, well, it is. I am excited and nervous. I've done one podcast, but it's not a live one. This is the first live podcast, so I'm glad to. Like I said, I'm excited, but I'm also nervous. I think for the show, I did a little bit of prepping and kind of just piggybacking off of Harvey, competitors and understanding how to be different, but then also how to not create disruption if that's not what you're looking to do, and then at the same time, how to kind of build your own brand. So that way you can maybe play the fence a little bit more. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Sounds like you got him ready, Harvey. All right, we're going to go to our first break. When we come back, we're going to do the What's Up Wylie segment, where we're going to talk about all the exciting events coming up so that people in Wylie and surrounding areas will know what to do and find a little fun. So everybody stick around. We'll be right back.
The Community Difference Wylie is made possible by Scott Johnson with FireBoss Realty, Harvey Loosier with Twilight Cleaning Services, Kim Johnson with Kim Johnson Group, Clarence Jorath with the Compound Nevada, and by Diane Cassel with Cassel to Cassel, connecting charities with fundraising solutions. The Community Difference Wylie. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's Up Wylie?
All right, it's time for What's Up Wylie, and this is where we talk about the people, places, and events that are happening in Wylie, Texas. We do a lot of these shows. I don't know if there's a community out there that has as many things going on as Wylie, Texas does. It's like for the size of this town, if you are looking for entertainment or something to do with your family, you don't have to drive very far. So Harvey, I want you to start us off, if you will, and talk a little bit about the things that are happening.
Awesome. Well, I want to start off with our lovely Wylie Area Chamber of Commerce. So next Thursday, and they do this every fourth Thursday of the month, they have a 501 mixer. So January the 23rd at Glen Echo Brewing from 501 to 7 p.m. They're going to have a networking event, and this is open to anyone to come. You don't have to be a member of the chamber or anything like that, just feel free to come out. Bring your spouse with you, and just come out and mix and mingle and get to know some people and take that opportunity to network. And also on January the 25th with Glen Echo, they are presenting a comedy night. Now, if you're looking for something to do and take your spouse out with, or just simply just get out of the house on a Saturday night and not have to travel so far, this is a great opportunity for you to find something to do right there in Wylie. But they're going to have a comedy night, and you can come out and see Dan of the People and his friends, and it starts at 8 p.m. and tickets are $7. So just take advantage of that event and get out of the house and go check out a comedy night there. Also, Lyndon, I got a huge downtown event. Now, this is an annual thing that the downtown merchants have put together. They do this. This is actually their third year. But each participating businesses. Now we have businesses like Herman Marshall, Landon Winery, the Wylie Flower Shop, and many more. But they're going to be participating with this, and it's called the Valentine's Cupid Crawl. Each one of these businesses that are participating, they're going to have complimentary beverages and shopping deals. So a great opportunity to get out of the house and find those great deals right there in downtown Wylie. Also on February the 7th, Wylie Nutrition will be hosting a paint and sip from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Now I picture this for my wife and I as a great date night, and we're getting into the month of February here, where love is in the air, if you will. You know, we got Valentine's coming up, so this would be a great event to get your wife out, guys, and take advantage of this. This is from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And you can book that on the Wylie Nutrition Facebook site. So be sure to go and register there. Also,
Harvey, real quick, are you a painter? Are you a good painter?
I am not a good painter, but I've done it a couple of different times. And the way that they do this most of the time, they kind of give you directions, and you know, I'm not an artiste, but it comes out all right. I mean, it's a fun time.
Yeah,
it's a fun time.
You may be like me, and so I kind of do a thing called golf and sip. And the longer I get through it, and the more I sip, the better I get at golf. So maybe that's how that's supposed to work.
Or you feel like you do?
Oh yeah, at least I think I do.
Now, this next one right here, my wife made sure that I put this on. My wife is a huge Pooh Bear fan. And on January the 17th, if you didn't know, on January the 17th is National Winnie the Pooh Day. And so the Saxe Public Library is having an event on the 17th at 3 p.m. And to celebrate this, they're going to have things for kids to do that are themed around Pooh Bear himself, like crafts and stuff like that. So that's located at 3815 Saxe Road, Building C, at the Saxe Public Library. So come on out and take advantage of that. And then I have one more here, and this one I'm super excited about. On February the 14th, and if you don't know this, guys, this is Valentine's Day. At 6 p.m. at the Saxe Historical Society, they will be hosting a true love or true murder event. Now, this is a murder mystery, and the event involves a lot of fun and intrigue, and basically you're just going to eat dinner and just go through a murder mystery as you do this. Now, have any of you ever done this before?
Yeah.
Diane, have you done something like this before?
Yes, and I'll tell you what, if you all want to have something fun to do and very unique and different, it is so awesome to be part of a murder mystery.
Yeah, I love those. We did one at the Wylie library. They didn't feed us dinner or anything, but it was a mystery, and we got to go around and get different clues. And that was the first time we ever did that. And I thought, you know what, we've got to continue doing things like that. It was definitely something that we enjoyed doing. As a guy, I'm always looking for something to do different with my wife, and instead of the typical, hey, let's go to dinner or let's go to the movies. And so this is something that will definitely be different. But the cost of this is $50, and it includes a Italian dinner, with wine, beer, or tea. So be sure to get online and at saxehistoricalsociety.com and buy your tickets today.
Well, I'll say this, Harvey, if there's a guy out there that doesn't understand that February 14th is Valentine's Day, it's probably not going to be love. It's probably going to be murder. So,
Exactly.
Ooh.
you want to pay attention to this. All right. Thank you, Harvey, for all of those exciting events in or around the Wylie area. Diane, you've got a big one coming up. We all do. But Diane, why don't you share a little bit about our Business Development Alliance Lunch and Learn?
I'm really excited about this because it really is, as Lyndon said, we're bringing all of our communities together because we have an incredible guest speaker. So our Business Development Alliance specifically focuses on helping you, the business owner. How do you really develop business through strategic partnerships and business training, high-level business training, not surface-level training. So with that in mind, we have Jim Thomas, who is a global speaker. Jim started his career in the fitness business and growing the fitness business through his innovative ideas and processes to build business. So it's going to be incredible. We start with a little networking, and then we move into listening to this incredible businessman share his knowledge with us. Then we move into a panel discussion. There'll be 4 people on the panel, and Jim will be part of that. And it will be an interesting way, a different way of looking at networking. So we take a turn on and twist on how we network here within the community difference. It will be on Thursday, January 23rd, starting at 11:30, and we end promptly at 1. It's at Love and Warren, Texas, one of my favorite places. Very easy to get to, on the corner of Highway 75 and Plano Parkway.
All right. Good stuff.
Can I add to that real quick, Lyndon?
Sure can.
When you sign up, be sure to put me down as the person that invited you. I'm right here in Wylie. I'm competing with Diane right now. We're trying to get see who can invite the most guests. So when you go in and sign up, be sure to put me down as the person that invited you.
Now, you know, Harvey, they're not going to do that. They're going to put me down, but that's okay. That's okay. But it's all about friendly competition. And I forgot to mention that this is completely free.
Absolutely.
We don't charge for our training. So we're very humbled by that. And we really have that desire to help all of our business owners in our local communities to grow and prosper.
Absolutely. And we are right now, Diane, I think at 56 RSVPs. That's a lot of people to network with. That's a lot of people to network with. So you guys take advantage of this. Come on out. I will have the link where you can RSVP in the comments, Facebook and YouTube before the end of the show. So Diane, thank you very much.
Remember when you're putting in the name, Cassel is spelled Cassel.
We love our friendly competition, don't we? So, all right, Sheridan, you said you had something for us. Talk a little bit about what you got that's coming up.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to be a part of the pedal car race, the annual pedal car race. So for all you Wylieans that have been around, you may have been there, but we'll be bringing the photo booth fun. So this is we're in the early stages of it because I believe the date is going to be on a Sunday, May 4th. And it's going to be hosted by the city of Wylie. They'll have some sponsors, maybe some sponsor opportunities available still in the Downtown Merchants Association. But yeah, we'll be there. It's a ways away, but definitely one to, zone in on and put on your calendar because it's going to be a lot of fun. Everyone's been talking it up a lot. I don't know if either of you all have been there, but it seems like, we're talking about competition. I think things get pretty heated there.
Yep.
It does. It's a very, very fun event to go and to see a bunch of little kids pedal car race and go through that. It's a blast. You have no idea how fun that is.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Well, that's it for What's Up, Wylie, unless you guys have anything else. If not, we're going to go to our commercial. When we come back, we're going to be on our topic of the day or the month, and that is business growth and what we need to do in developing a blueprint for that. So we're going to allow our sponsors to have a moment, who we really appreciate. So you guys stick around. We'll be right back.
The Community Difference would like to thank each of the following partners for their continued support. At FireBoss Realty, we believe life is about relationships, and everything else is just details. Whether you're buying or selling, Scott and Amy Johnson are here to understand your family's unique needs and deliver expert guidance on the North Texas real estate market. With a reputation for integrity and personalized service, FireBoss Realty makes your home journey stress-free and successful. Ready to make your move? Visit FireBossRealty.com and let's ignite your real estate dreams.
Everyone deserves access to affordable health insurance, but with traditional insurance, costs can be high and getting coverage can be complicated. JP Direct Health is a simpler, more affordable way to get the health coverage you need. With plans for individuals, families, and small businesses, you can save money on monthly premiums without the need for physicals. At jpdirecthealth.com, we specialize in customizing coverage to fit almost every budget with affordable PPO plans and many other benefits. With over 100 5-star Google reviews, JP Direct Health is a trusted resource making health insurance affordable and accessible for everyone year-round. Affordable health insurance solutions are a proactive protection, not a reactive solution. Visit jpdirecthealth.com today and see how much you can save.
I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Total Care Emergency Room now has 9 locations in the DFW Metroplex. With no appointment needed, our incredible staff will get you checked in with no wait times. Our 5-star facility is open and fully staffed 24/7. We offer extensive treatment options for patients of all ages, providing on-site labs and imaging equipment, including CT, X-ray, and ultrasound, allowing us to provide fast, convenient care for our community. Total Care ER is your neighborhood emergency room. TotalCare.us.
Unwanted pests in your home can be stressful. From creepy crawlies to critters under the floorboards, they disrupt your peace of mind. But don't worry. All Pest Solutions is here to help. We offer a comprehensive range of safe and effective pest control solutions. We target all types of pests, big or small, including insects, rodents, and wildlife. All Pest Solutions, your local experts for a pest-free home. Breathe easy and enjoy your life again. Call today for a free quote. 972-442-1169 or email us at customerservice@allpestsolutions.com.
To belong is one of our most basic human needs. Best Buddies International is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social isolation of 200 million individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on meaningful one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living. You have the power to make an impact, create change, and champion our mission of inclusion today.
Now back to the show.
All right, welcome back. I want to thank all of our sponsors for their support, which helps us do what we do and serve the community the way that we serve the community, and we couldn't do it without them. So thank you very much. If anybody's interested in being a sponsor on any of our shows, you can reach out to me, any of our co-hosts, Diane, Harvey, and others, and they'll point you in the right direction, and we can get you set up so that you can be seen, be heard, and be remembered as well. So it's time for our topic now. Topic of the month. We do this every week. We get different perspectives. What we're looking for when we talk about these topics, it's not something that we learned 15 years ago that everybody's learned since then. We're looking for something cutting edge, revelational, something that gives the, oh, wow, I didn't think of that type of moment, because that's what's going to help us grow. So as we start off, the title, The Blueprint to Breakthrough, keyword, breakthrough business growth, how to create a clear strategy that sets you apart from your competitors. Let's just start with the first question of define business growth from your perspective, because we all perceive growth differently, right? We all have different needs. Some people need to grow this way. Some people need to grow that way. Some people need more referrals. Some people need more brand ambassadors. Some people need more funding. They may, that might be part of their growth strategy. Is I'm putting all my ducks in a row so that I can get funding to maybe an acquisition or something like that. We'll go ladies first, as we always do. Diane, give me your description of business growth.
For me personally, it really has nothing to do with adding clients. And I know that sounds very strange, but when you work with nonprofits, there are over, I believe right now we're at over 40,000 nonprofits just in the DFW area. So I have no problem with finding prospective clients. For me personally, business growth is about me. How am I going to invest in myself to be a better person? To go out and serve the clients that I have, the clients that I'm going to have. What are those processes and what are those routines that I should be doing on a daily basis that I'm not currently doing? So always looking and searching for something new and innovative is where I am.
Okay. Sheridan, what about you?
Yeah, well, business growth for BeeCaptured, it kind of mirrors what Diane was mentioning there as far as like practices and daily practices and routines. We kind of go through more or less of like a cycle, like a business cycle. And, like the beginning of the year, really at the end of 2024, we were in the planning cycle, kind of understanding what, we're looking to accomplish. And, from there, we'll go into the execution, like segment of the cycle where we're trying to execute what we plan or set out or what God had put on our hearts to accomplish. And then, in that planning cycle, we'll have goals that we set. And then this is what we measure to discover like what, our growth will be when we're in what is like the third cycle, which is kind of like the review cycle. So we can kind of step back and look at the artwork that we created and understand, if that was what we sought out to try to accomplish at the very beginning in the planning cycle. So it's really those three segments make up that business cycle that we try to execute so we can measure our growth. So that's kind of what BeeCaptured is all about regarding growth and how we get to that.
Okay. I like that. It ties in great with what Diane said, as you said. Harvey, what about you? What does business growth mean to you?
Right now, currently in our business, and where we're at, I have a long-term goal, and I've mentioned this before of eventually just franchising out Twilight cleaning services. And I think in order to be a good franchise, you got to build that reputation, you got to build that name. And so right now, just building that reputation and that client base, and just using them as a great referral is what we're concentrating on right now. And with that said, we like to go into certain areas and just build out from there. So, if I'm looking at growth right now, it's clients.
Okay. All right. So things that I heard, one was, and Diane, thank you for sharing that, and Sheridan, you for following up. But one of the things that I've not heard on a lot of the shows that we've done so far when we talk about this is processes and routines. That is the unsung back end. Nobody's watching. It's not sexy, but it's the fundamental process of how we can determine if we're on the right track, right? So all of those are foundational. And if you don't establish a good foundation, you can't grow. So Harvey, you talked about, what you're trying to do. And I like the way that you formatted that because you almost reverse engineered it. I want a franchise, but now I've got to back up this first step. That's the foundation. So I've got to build that first, and then my next step comes. I don't think a lot of people reverse engineer or maybe even understand what that means or the importance of it. But reverse engineering will also help you define your processes. So I want to talk a little bit about process and routine, and why that's so important. How important does consistency play in your pursuit of success?
That's huge.
Okay. How hard is it for most of us to stay consistent?
Very difficult.
In your top 10, let's just narrow it down. Is consistency, and let's be honest and vulnerable, is consistency in your top 3 challenges you have in the way you operate your business?
Absolutely.
It is against human nature to be that consistent and that focused and that disciplined, correct?
Yes.
So when we're talking about processes and we're talking about routines, how important are they to ensure and to lead you and guide you on that path of consistency? That's what a routine's all about, isn't it? My routine is I get up at 5 a.m. every morning. Every morning. 5 a.m. every morning. That's the routine. That produces consistency. If I don't get up at 5 a.m. and I start getting away from that consistency, if I have a documented routine that I should be sticking to, that I should be disciplined with, I can start determining where the failure is, where the weak spot is. So I'm going to come at y'all with a coach's perspective here. When we were coaching, when I was a player, all of these little detailed things I hated. You got to turn your hips this way. You got to move your foot this way. You got to look this way. You got to have your hands here. I'm like, just let us play football, please. I don't want to do all that stuff. Then I became a coach. And the only way that you can help someone advance is by watching their habits and behaviors and their activities.
Right.
And if you're always supposed to step with your right foot in this situation and you stepped with your left, I can help you correct it. But if you step with right and you step with left one time and you step with right one time and you step with left one time, we have no idea where it went wrong or any idea on how to fix it. So in our growth strategy, processes, procedures, and routines play such a vital role. Harvey, when you get ready to franchise, I think a lot of what they're going to be looking at, people are going to invest that money, is do you have that mechanism, that process, that routine? Because I don't know what you're doing. I need a guide, right? I mean, you guys know, you both, Diane, you and Harvey both know that we're developing processes and procedures through the difference right now in all that we're doing. That's part of the growth pains. So y'all talk about that a little bit. I want you to go first, Sheridan. Talk about your perspective of routines, consistency, and processes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting. I didn't know we were going to talk about this. I mean, I reviewed the playbook, but like consistency is definitely something that, and you can ask my wife, I really attribute to focus on that day in and day out. And it goes hand in hand with discipline. You know, it's almost like a seesaw. But yeah, the consistency for me and something that we've been focused on with BeeCaptured is just making sure we do the little things. Like you said, taking like a step with the right, like, you know, we need to be able to, like if we get a sale or if we get like a lead on our website, we need to have like a follow-up chain, and that needs to be automated. And like, these are things that are little nuggets that we can take advantage of. And it's just, it implements consistency without having to like actually think about it and do it and execute it. But, you know, if you just put the time in to kind of plan, you know, if you put this into the, you know, like more or less playbook, and then it executes, you know, you will start to get a result. And that's kind of what we've been able to really focus on and hone in on. And that's how, you know, consistency plays a big part into BeeCaptured. It's just like the little automations.
Okay. Well, just so you know, and I'm glad that you did look at the playbook, because that's very important. I like to build visuals before I get into the nuts and bolts. So the reason that I started with this is because I'm going to be talking about, or we're going to finish this and wrap this up and tie it into the role of clarity in business success. I believe that routines, processes, and procedures that lead to consistency also builds clarity.
Yeah.
As I said before, if I've got an athlete that's stepping different every time, it's not clear on how I can fix that, right? Mm-hmm. But if we have a process and there is a discipline that he has, when this situation, this is how you respond, If he stops responding that way, there's clarity in that. And it's easy for me then to show him, remember what we talked about? Remember how we needed to do this? And this is what you're doing. Oh, it's a visual. Do you see what I'm saying? Harvey, talk about that and about how all that we talked about, processes and consistency, how does that build clarity in your mind?
Well, I think, you know, when you go back to the whole franchise concept, the main reason why people even gravitate towards a franchise is because the systems are already in place for you. So that's what you're not only paying for the name, but you're paying for the systems that go along with it. And to kind of go back to what we were talking about, or I mentioned earlier, you know, if it wasn't for me reaching out to a couple of bigger, well-known commercial cleaning companies out in the West Coast that had anything to do with me as far as competition or whatnot, but that are already franchising their businesses out, and talking with them and having that set down, flying up, meeting with them, learning their processes, getting to see their steps. It saved me a lot of time as a business owner to realize that I don't have to do this, but I do need to focus on this. Let's put it in this perspective. And I wouldn't have known this, and this is just simple as you can make it right here. I wouldn't have known that one of the biggest downfalls for commercial cleaning companies, and one of the biggest things that they miss, is trash cans. And so now when we train our employees, that is the very first thing that we do when we walk into a room is change the trash. And we just had an incident the other day, the first time in 2 years, where a trash can was missed. And I'm just beating myself over the head, like, what happened here? What was the process? Why did we fail? Why did we drop the ball? And you have to realize that those are going to happen through those processes, but then you have to take a step back, get clarity on that, and realize, all right, so what do I need to do? It's got to be repetitious. We are repetitious creatures, and so we have to make sure that it's repetitious. That's the very first thing. And so I have to go in and re-strategize how I'm holding the accountability to that, and just make that another training point. But processes are huge, Lyndon. I mean, it's what people pay for a lot of times. It's just the processes in itself.
It is, you know, and you talked about repetition and being repetitious. You know, I'm reminded of a saying that you don't practice this until you get it right. You practice it until you can't get it wrong. And that was really powerful to me, because I'm like, well, that's not that distinct of a difference, but it's a big distinction in that difference. It really is. Diane, what are your thoughts on processes and procedures, especially whether we have a company with employees or whether it's just us, just a solopreneur? How important is processes and procedures in building oversight to make sure we're not missing things, right?
Yeah, well, you know, for me, when you asked the question, Lyndon, originally, is consistency one of your top 3 challenges? And I would say it's always been my number 1 challenge. As a redhead, I've got the shiny object problem. And so I'm always moving from one thing to the next, like, oh, you should go over here, you should do this, you should do that. And so consistency is kind of like being the mother of a Marine. I should be way better than I am at consistency. Routine. Being a routine, you know, when you go through boot camp, it was like I went through boot camp with my son, and it's all routines. It's process. And so for me, I really believe that is what was missing. That was the missing link in whenever I tried to build business. It just was. And if I could piggyback on what Harvey said, you know, perhaps we all might look at thinking with the mindset that we want to franchise our business. If we all thought that way, we would know right away, well, McDonald's, look at McDonald's. Look at all of the big franchises. We know that they've got all of those things in place because it's like a turnkey business. Shouldn't we all think about what Harvey said? let's get those processes and routines into place for everything we do, no matter if we have the desire to franchise or not.
Well, and that's an important part, because if we're solopreneurs and we don't have processes and we have some medical emergency and we get laid up, someone could come in and fill in for us. But if you've got 50 different notepads strewn across your desk and each one of them has a different something on it, that's kind of chaotic to come in. So let's talk about that real quick. We got about 5 minutes left on this subject. So the clarity and business success that we're talking about in the playbook, the deep insight, clarity empowers decision-making, it strengthens leadership, and it creates alignment. Isn't that what processes and procedures and routines and consistency allows, right? Isn't it easier to get those employees on board if they can see that that process works? Right. And it becomes simple. Thoughts on that? I'm opening it up. Anybody? Or I'll call on Sheridan.
Yeah, I mean, well, look here. I mean, that was kind of like the step. Like, my business is pretty, like, we're pretty new on the scene, and we've been having a lot of success, and it's been a blessing. But what's kind of helping us step away from the startup into kind of like where we're like more of an oiled machine is these processes, and just little things where, if we have like a training, go through a checklist. I remember when I first did my first event, I forgot some stuff, and I have a checklist that I have to check off manually. That really helps. Like you said, in a situation where I get double booked and now I have to ask, my wife, or now we have attendants, I can give them a checklist for whatever event we need, and they just go through that, and then they can load up their car, put all the equipment in there, and then, we have a video, or we went through training the night before, and they know how to execute whatever experience that we're presenting to the customer. So it's heavily important to us. And like I said, anybody that's watching that has a new business, and we're 6 months. So like, think about processes. If you're not getting clients, think about some processes that you can automate or create to help your business get to the next level.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts?
And if I could
Harvey?
add, if I could add to that, because Diane was talking about having that mindset and treating each and every business like it was a franchise. If it wasn't for my wife, she's honestly the brains of this operation. I just like to talk. She's a huge introvert. She's real quiet.
We're the same.
She's really the brains of this operation. But she told me one time, because as entrepreneurs, we always think we can't call in sick. It's just not possible. We don't take days off, et cetera, et cetera. But what happens if there's an emergency? What happens if something tragic happens? Your business just shuts down. And she brought that to my attention to the degree that we got to have those processes where we can easily hand that. I can hand that to Sheridan right now, and he's able to see exactly what we do and pick my business up and run it, because I have those kind of processes laid out. And so it should be that easy. Now, is it easy to get there? No. And you may change it constantly and consistently. And I think those are good things. You need to evaluate those processes and make them better. What's the old saying? Work smarter, not harder. And so I'm always looking for those ways of being able to work smarter and not harder. So it's huge to have those processes in your business. If you don't have those, you need to get those in place.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're thinking business growth strategies, processes, procedures, routines, and the fact that lends to consistency is probably the best place to start. I think that's where you're going to become more efficient. It's going to save money and help produce more money. Sheridan said something that tied into what you said, Harvey, and what Diane said, and it was going from a startup, right? As a startup, you don't have any processes per se. You're just out there blind, man. And you're doing the best you can. And it's kind of like that duck on the water. He looks so calm, but underneath it's just churning. So making that move and helping, I think that really was a great point that Sheridan made, is that really to define yourself that I have transitioned from startup into a functional business is processes, procedures, and routines. But one of the things that I didn't realize till about 20 something years ago, and this is a mistake, I believe it's a mistake, this is my opinion, that most businesses make when they get started, is they don't have an exit strategy. When it's all over, when I get ready to walk away, if an illness happens, if something happens, what is my exit strategy? And that exit strategy is going to determine the value of the business you own right now.
That's good.
Which, if you're going to have an exit strategy, you want the most value you can possibly have, right? Whether you're passing that along to your family or whether you're selling it. And I can promise you this, there is huge value in processes, procedures, and routines that are effective and efficient, that save money and save time and produce results. One term or word that you used before, Sheridan, was execution. I see so many businesses out there that are gung-ho. They have great ideas. They have great vision. They have great plans. You look at the plan, the process. This is how we're going to do it. And then nothing happens because they don't execute it. Right? The greatest game plan in the world doesn't amount to anything if it's not executed. And so, as you said, with the checklist, that to-do list, are you executing? Did you do A? Did you do B? Did you do C? Did you skip 5 different letters and then you start it again? That's not execution. That is accountability, though, right? Because if it doesn't go well, that's the clarity part. How do I fix it? Well, I have to go back and look at that list. What did we miss? Did I forget that trash can? Oh my God, we forgot the trash can. It wasn't checked off. Okay. So it's oversight as well. Oversight. I want to ask y'all this question, and we got to close out after this last question. Oversight aligns with accountability. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I would say. Are you saying oversight from like a manager point of view?
From personal, overseeing myself, right? So to be able to go back, and because we all are human, we can forget. I can have a checklist and still miss something, right? My process needs to be, after I've completed that checklist, to revisit my work, right? What they used to tell us in school, check your work. Y'all ever heard that? Check your work.
Oh yeah.
I used to go through and try to finish that test so fast because I wanted it to look smart. I want everybody to think that he's so smart. He finished before us. Then you get your grade back and you're like, no, I wasn't so smart. Well, the teacher's like, if you'd have checked your work, you might have realized you missed these problems.
Yes.
So that's the oversight I'm talking about. I'm not talking about micromanagement, but how do we ensure through a process that even though we feel like it was completed, that we either have someone come behind us or we revisit it ourselves to make sure we were thorough. Real quick, 30 seconds each. How important is that and why, Diane?
Oh, well, I'll tell you personally, for me, it's when I started my business, I wanted to help every nonprofit. That's huge oversight, huge, because I can't help every nonprofit. And so when I don't take the time to put that process in place of sitting down face to face with them in an interview to make sure that we're on the same page, that we want the same things, that's massive because I missed that step. And so when I go back and look at that and I sign them up anyway, and I start working with them, it's a nightmare because we weren't clear. We didn't have clarity about what each of us were going to do for this to be equitable.
Preach it to the choir. I hear you. Sheridan, what about you?
Yeah, definitely from a team point of view, me and my wife, we're a really good team. And oddly enough, maybe you all can relate. We are opposite. So when we have a process like that, for example, my wife, she saw that I was, forgetting stuff. She was like, you need to create a checklist. I created a checklist and then I'm still forgetting stuff. So she kind of goes back and like, ask me, did you look at the checklist? So it's just like, I think, you get this, we're in the business of quality and convenience and experiences. And, to create a good experience, we need to have high quality stuff and we need to do it real fast. So when we're not spending time, like teaching each other things, but we're able to like get reps off of like the same problems, we have different points of view of a problem and we have a solution it's almost like you're kind of getting a twofer there. So that's really like one of the things I think we're able to, you know, kind of capitalize on within BeeCaptured, with really within me and my wife's marriage. So shout out to Chastity for sure.
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice. Harvey?
And you know, it's a plus, Sheridan, when you do work with your wife and you have that ability to be able to work and feed off of each other. A lot of things that I've learned, though, even in the retail industry, back when I was in management with retail, you know, holding myself accountable in those processes. A lot of times you have to realize that, you know, you don't have a manager standing over the top of you pointing out that you missed this and you missed that. You're your own boss now. And so then you have to figure out, okay, how do I hold myself accountable without someone else coming alongside of me and pointing those things out? And I'm one of those that's, man, you make the mistake once, you learn from it. It shouldn't happen a second time. And if it happens a second time, then my goodness, what are you doing? You know? And so I have to learn those strategies to hold myself accountable, whether that be a to-do list or a reminder or checklist that I go through each day. But just having that accountability, that personal accountability, is huge in being a business owner.
All right. Well, I think that was a great conversation. What do y'all think?
Amen.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, we're probably all a little tired right now. That was pretty intense. But let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Sheridan a little bit, along with Diane and Harvey. And we're going to find out a little bit more about them, who they are, and what makes them tick. So everybody stick around. We'll be right back.
Hey Plano, DFW, and surrounding areas. Introducing the Business Development Alliance, Networking and Business Development Reimagined. January 23, 2025. At 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Love and War in Plano, 601 East Plano Parkway, Plano, Texas, 75074. This is where connections meet strategy. Where growth meets opportunity. And where you build your future. So join us and step into the world of behavioral branding and learn how to elevate your professional presence, build meaningful relationships, and redefine your success, all while connecting with the brightest minds in our community. Our event begins with our Power Mixer beginning at 11:30 a.m., where you connect with influential professionals in a lively networking session. Next is our keynote speaker at 12 p.m. You will hear from Jim Thomas, Global Business Coach, on the power of behavioral branding. Finishing with our panel discussion at 12:30 p.m. This is a live discussion with the experts on behavioral branding's impact, followed by audience Q&A. Our panel includes Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial, Bethany Rowan with Rowan Realty Group, Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel, Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus, and Jim Thomas himself. You will meet our discussion facilitator, Lyndon Wilson, CEO and founder of the Community Difference in BDA and author of the Amazon bestseller, The Entrepreneurial Difference. We will also be offering prizes for attendees who RSVP and show up. Compliments of the Community Difference totaling over $5,000. So don't delay. RSVP now to secure your spot and qualify for these exclusive prizes. Just the click link in comments to RSVP. Or scan the QR code in comments to reserve your seat. Business Development Alliance, business done differently. Business done better. The Community Difference Wylie would like to thank the following partners for their ongoing support.
We are Cloud Staff, enabling remarkable growth for businesses everywhere with our pioneering enterprise-grade remote work solutions. We are on a mission to help business owners scale while reducing costs by matching you with an amazing staff, mobilizing your team, and helping manage business performance, making us the #1 workplace as remote work gets done. Connect with us to access the world's top talent and discover how we can enable remarkable growth for your business.
And now, back to the show.
All right. Thank you all. Thank our sponsors, and thank you all for sticking around. We're going to get into now what we call our deep dive, and that's where we're going to talk just a little bit about each one of our co-hosts and our guests, how they got started. And Harvey, I'm going to let you take the lead on this with Sheridan, and let's find out more about Sheridan and BeeCaptured Photo.
Absolutely. So Sheridan, you know, as talking to you and getting to know you a little bit better at the Wylie Chamber networking events, I'm curious, what inspired you to start BeeCapture PhotoBooth, and how has it impacted the events you've worked with so far?
Yeah, so great question. Me personally, I've always been business minded. In middle school, I used to mow my neighbors' lawns. In college, I would design and sew clothes for like brands, and that's how I'd get extra money. And even before Be Captured, I owned a vending machine company. These ventures kind of taught me, valuable lessons, that really brought like a lot of inspiration, to Be Captured. Mainly though, I'd say, what we execute in each production is, convenience and quality, and really convenience from vending machines, and then the quality, I get from, my artist point of view, we know with cut and sew and design.
Awesome. What makes BeeCapture PhotoBooth unique compared to the other competition out there?
Well, yeah, that's a great question as well. As far as, what really makes us unique, right now we're known for photo booths, but Be Captured is a lot more than that. We're a production company. What makes us different is our ability to find the perfect balance between quality and convenience. For example, while many companies provide event floating photography, we take it a step further. Our package includes a live, customizable gallery where hosts and guests can view, download, and print, photos on site. We're all about making the experience seamless and unforgettable, both during the event and after.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, Sheridan, this isn't your full-time gig, right?
No. Yeah, this isn't. I would hope so. I'm praying for that, if it's God willing. But no, my wife and I, we run this company, as a side hustle here right now. I'm a full-time stockbroker, and my wife is a full-time teacher as well, middle school teacher.
Awesome.
And how many kids do you have? Oh, go ahead, Harvey.
Sorry. How many kids do you have, Sheridan? Because I know you mentioned earlier backstage that you had a babysitter there today with you.
Yeah. So me and my wife, we just welcomed our he's 6-month-old, our firstborn child. His name is Braxton Lawrence Bee, and he's a lot of fun sometimes, especially when you try to get him in the car seat. So
he's a lot of fun sometimes.
I love that.
He's just getting
profound
started.
Words from a father. Well, I've got a question for you, Sheridan. When you got started into the entrepreneurial world, what was the most surprising, both good and bad, things that you experienced?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest surprising thing that I think I learned early when I was cutting yards was like failure. I think as a kid, I experienced failure really early and dramatically. And I think it really helped me kind of go through, because you go through it. I feel like life is a lot of cycles, and there's an emotional cycle. For example, if you don't get a job, or if you think you're going to get a lead and you're like, oh, so happy about it, and then you don't get it, it like falls through. You go through this kind of like emotional cycle. And I kind of went through that so many times. I would say, I don't know who said this quote, but like you definitely want to be someone that fails. You don't want to be scared of it, but you want to fail fast so you can kind of get out of that cycle quicker. And that's kind of what I think if I look back at, I didn't understand, as a child, but as a grown man, I can understand. I can I can take some gratitude from, all those times I failed trying to do something, and then I would have to pick myself up again. So.
Yeah.
So Sheridan, I have a question for you, because you're at that young age, and oh my gosh, you have so much to look forward to, and you're just getting started as a parent. Whoo, Lord. So glad I'm beyond that. But the question that I have for you, because of all the different listeners that we have in our audience, there's a lot of young people out there that are already thinking, I might want to start a business. I don't think I want to be an employee. I don't like being an employee. And they learn it fast in their mind. They get this concept. Well, what can I do? So my question is to you, Sheridan. What piece of advice would you have for a young person that is at that juncture of their life where they've worked the day job, they work the full-time job, and they really have this entrepreneur drive and passion? What is your first piece of advice for somebody like that?
Well, so I'll give two things of advice. And that's a really good question, Diane, because there's a lot of people that are my age or even younger that just hate on the whole 9-to-5 like vibe. And it's really not, it's kind of like, that's not what's realistic. So first off, I would say, hey, don't hate on the 9-to-5. There's a lot of people in the world that live successful lives. They have, you know, they do a lot of good things in the world and they work 9-to-5 jobs. It's not like, it's not a plague. And then, you know, the second thing I would say is kind of what Lyndon spoke on, but he didn't really unpack a lot. It's like understanding that, you know, ideas are great. I'm a creator. You know, you see we have like a backdrop going. So, you know, I'm a creator. I understand that ideas are great. But if you have to understand on a bigger scale, ideas are only like 10, maybe 20% of the road. Like it's not a lot of anything if you don't execute, if you don't try to do, if you don't go through what your vision is, you know, it's not going to be anything. It's just an idea. You know, your ideas need to turn into, they need to evolve. So I think that's something that a lot of people that are kind of pondering the whole, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to do like real estate or YouTube or whatever you have it. And, you know, they just haven't really started. So you just need to start. You need to keep trying every day to start, do something, make a decision to put yourself towards your vision and activate, you know, yourself. That's kind of what I would say. You know, ideas are only 20% max. Execution is the rest. So you need to get to work.
Action.
Yep.
Action is the word. I love it.
My mentor told me that one time, Sheridan. He said ideas have zero value without execution. Everybody's got great ideas, everybody, but without execution, nothing ever happens. So hate to cut this off. We got to go to break. We're going to come back to our what's up or what's the difference section. We already did what's up. We're going to do what's the difference, and I'm going to put everybody on the hot seat with some of the questions. So y'all buckle up because we'll be right back.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media, LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
And now it's time for What's the Difference?
All right, welcome back. This is our segment called What's the Difference? One of my favorite ones because we get to do a comparison of some common challenges within the professional realm. So I had one I wanted to talk about. Let me pull it up here real quick. I wanted to talk about this one. I wanted to talk about the difference between differentiation and disruption. But given our conversation today, I want to talk about what's the difference between clarity and oversimplicity in your strategy, because we talked about that, right? We talked about how processes, procedures will form clarity. So let's, I want you to give me the two examples. So if you're telling me the difference between clarity and oversimplicity, what is your description of that, Diane?
Clarity to me is knowing exactly what my process and routine is. And then taking that a step further, and not only for me to know what it is, but for me to share that with my prospects sitting in front of me so that they know exactly what my expectations are and they know what to expect from me because I'm clear on what I want. I'm clear on my process. And I think it's important for everybody to know that, not just me. So there are no surprises, I like to say. Oversimplicity is what I've done a lot in my life, so I know very well what this is. I like to skip steps because I like to go fast. And so every time I oversimplify something, I miss the boat.
Yeah.
I miss so many things. I don't have time to tell you how many things I've missed and overlooked. So that's my take on it.
That's a great description. Sheridan, what about you? What's the difference between clarity and oversimplicity?
Yeah, I mean, Diane, it's gonna be hard to follow up, Diane. I mean, I'd probably just say like clarity. You know, you got to have it's like a super crystal clear vision, and you know, it's a plus if you can communicate that, you know, with words. Sometimes I was only able to do that with, you know, garments and like experiences. You know, on the flip side, simplification or simplicity, probably would say, you know, I would have to say, for me, I relate to this skipping steps. You know, you're not honed in on details, and you know, for me with BeeCaptured, it would be a failure point. You know, if we're not, you know, understanding what the clients like details are, like what their favorite points, you know, they want to bring to life are. So, yeah, you know, clarity. It's good to have a clarity, you know, with your process. You know, it's always, you know, good to have simplistic process, but you don't want to, you know, forget the details.
Right. I like that. Harvey?
Well, you know, clarity. I think having a just like both Sheridan and Diane discussed, just having that clear process. And I think when you have employees that work underneath you, it's huge to make sure that they understand the process, and you have to sell that process to them. A lot of times they don't understand why that is a process, like changing the trash first, you know, doing that first when you walk in, dumping the trash when you walk into a room, and then but being over simple, simplicity. I think a lot of times with that, we can try to underthink things a lot of times and mull over things and quickly just miss things because we're not looking over the process properly. So
I agree. I'm going to read the answer in a second. I want to give you my opinion on it. I think that clarity, if done right within our processes and procedures, can create simplicity for those that are following us. It becomes much more simple if it's clear, right? If it's not clear, it's complicated. For me, and this is my experience, and you guys, there's two of you on here that can attest to this. Oversimplicity for me is not understanding that just because I get it, everybody else gets it, right? And so I will take those shortcuts. I will put something together and I go, here's how it works. Yeah. Not taking into account that they don't have the experiences that I have. and I need to be more detailed on what we do. And that's the challenge for me, especially in the business we're growing right now. And these type of things really help with that. Here is the Webster's version. Clarity ensures that everyone involved understands your goals, your priorities, and steps to success. Oversimplicity, however, risks omitting critical nuances and leads to incomplete execution. Clarity communicates precision. Oversimplicity sacrifices detail. So that's how that one works. We got to do this one quick, but I want to get to it because it's very important. What's the difference? Because this ties in. What's the difference between consistency and rigidity in execution? Got to have this one quick. Can't talk very long. So, Diane, you go first.
Well, consistency is those regular efforts that you do every single day, right? That's what you do. And rigidity is really being resistant, and not flexible to new ideas.
Okay, Sheridan.
Yeah, so rigidity for me, for sure, it kind of reminds me of traditional. It doesn't invite innovation. And then consistency relates, back to discipline. How often are you able to make decisions that put you a step closer to, ultimately what your execution or what your plan is.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Harvey.
Yeah, consistency. I agree with both of them. It's just all about that follow through and just being consistent. I'm a repetitious person. You'll hear me say that over and over and over and over. But being repetitious and consistent is huge. Regenerative is, it's just that common process, that just being too common in my opinion.
Okay. Webster's version: consistency involves maintaining regular efforts and reliable messaging across platforms and interactions. Rigidity, on the other hand, ignores the need for flexibility and adaptation to new information or market conditions. So kind of being stubborn, right? We can, there's one thing in being convicted to your beliefs. There's another thing in being stubborn and unwilling to see opportunities, right? So, man, what a good show. I think this went well. I hope y'all think it went well too. We've got just about 2 minutes. So I'm going to start with Sheridan on this. Sheridan, I want you to tell everybody how to get in touch with you. It's going to be scrolling at the bottom. Then we'll go Diane, and then we'll go Harvey, and we'll wrap up.
Yeah, so the quickest way to get in touch with us is at our website. It's BeeCaptured, so CAPTURED at the end, .net, BeeCaptured.net. And then, or you can check us out on Google. You might even want to check us out on Google. My mom says that's a better way to view the business because you can get to see our 121 5-star Google reviews.
Wow. Nice.
Wow, pretty impressive.
Very. Diane.
The best way to get in touch with me, because I'm not a techie, no website, no emails. I mean, I do, but I'm old fashioned. I want to have a conversation. So please call me, and let's connect at 972-658-4035.
Diane, you got to do the call me thing,
Call me at 972-658-4035.
There you go. All right, Harvey, your turn.
And I think Diane, you and I are the same way. We're relational people, and that's the best way to get a hold of us as well is give us a call. Our phone number is 469-556-0341.
There you go. Any last thoughts from anybody? We got 1 minute left.
I think the biggest thing for me is that everybody on the show today really is in the same mindset. And to be able to take your relationships that you've spent time building and turn those into strategic partners that will help you build your business through processes and improvements always.
Yes.
There you go.
I love always hearing from a young entrepreneur business owner like Sheridan to get that feedback and just to see that even at a young age where he started, to hear where he started mowing yards and where he's at now. It's just huge. It was great to hear from that.
It was.
It was.
Yeah,
Sheridan,
thank
I'll let you finish this up.
Hey, well, guys, it's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me, Harvey, Diane, and Lyndon. You all, it's a wealth of knowledge here, and I hope some of the viewers got some of that. I surely did. Again, guys, my name is Sheridan Bee with BeeCaptured PhotoBooth, where we capture your experience.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Do you know what that is, Sheridan?
No, that's a new one.
It's the Batman show. It's
Wow.
Batman show. So I did that on purpose. No, I had to follow up Harvey with you being young. I'm like, I'm fixed to put him on the spot right here. Diane, you knew what I was talking about, didn't you?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Oh, yes, you did. You've seen Bat Time. You did, Harvey, right? Don't leave me hanging.
Absolutely.
All right, there you go. Well, we'll see everybody next week. Meanwhile, y'all have a great weekend.
Thank you for watching today's show.
The Community Difference Wylie was made possible by Scott Johnson with FireBoss Realty, Harvey Loosier with Twilight Cleaning Services, Kim Johnson with Kim Johnson Group, Clarence Joreff with the Compound Nevada, and by Diane Cassel with Cassel to Cassel, connecting charities with fundraising solutions. The Community Difference Wylie. Together, we can make the difference.